So I want you to picture this. You're in your 40s, life's going along pretty amazing. You've got a great job, you've got a family, and everything's good. But then one day, you go to see the doctor because there's a little thing that you think might be going on. And in that moment, it makes you rethink what you're currently doing. And then all of a sudden, you get the crazy idea to, even though you haven't played in a band for over the last 20 years, you think, I wonder if I can get onto Glastonbury in the next 3 years, on the main stage. Well, that's exactly what the person that we're about to have a conversation with has decided to do. Sam has just created the 3-year project with the goal of getting on to Glastonbury main stage in 3 years' time. Okay, Sam, 3-year project. Getting to Glastonbury on the main stage in 3 years.
Crazy, eh?
Very crazy. And I'd love to know, A, what inspired it, and B, how you're planning on doing it. Because you've had some of the biggest bands in the world play on that stage, and you've only just put your band together.
Yeah, it's quite daunting. I feel like I'm climbing Mount Everest. The inspiration came, it sounds really crazy, but I hurt my index finger. And I went to the doctors, and they said, well, you've got arthritis in this finger. So I knew it's not going to get better. I either need surgery or something, or it's just going to get worse all the time. So I thought, well, if I don't do anything around music now, it's only ever going to get harder. So I decided, I'll start on a journey. So I decided to play an open mic night over in New Zealand when I was working over there.
Zach, how long ago was this?
This was in July of this year. So July this year, played an open mic night, not picked my guitar up for I would say at least 6 months. Yeah, and I was there and I was on stage, fumbling my way through these songs, and I really enjoyed it, and it brought back some really nice memories of playing these songs when I've not played for ages. And then I didn't think much of it until I was at the airport, and then I saw a sign on the back of someone's car, and it says, one day or day one. And I thought, do you know what? I think today is going to be the day one instead of that one day moment. So I got home and I was thinking to myself, well, I can set up a band, I can do all these things, but it's probably not inspirational enough. It'll just fizzle out. The kind of guy I am, I need a project or something to probably aim for proper. So I was asking myself, well, what do I really want? And I was thinking, well, just aim big, just aim for Everest. If you want to climb a mountain, you've got to climb Everest. So if you want to play a gig, well, let's play Glastonbury on main stage. So that's the aim.
And so was that the first thing that came into your mind when you saw this one day or day one? Was that the first thing that came into your mind? Okay, Glastonbury, let's do it.
It was my finger thinking, if I don't do something now around music, it'll never happen.
Okay.
And then that little sign on that guy's car, like one day or day one, I was like, right, something's going to happen. Like a light bulb moment in my brain. I don't know if it's midlife crisis, I don't know what it is, but it was like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. And this is, so from that moment, I had that spark happened in my brain by saying, okay, then this is what I want to do. And it probably took 2 or 3 weeks later after then to really go, no, this is what I'm doing. Yeah? That makes sense.
So the goal being to get onto the stage at Glastonbury. So let's rewind a little bit here.
Yeah,
let's get a bit of your background. First of all, you mentioned to me in a conversation beforehand around when you were younger, to you, writing music was like going and painting a picture.
Yes.
And that you found it really easy to be able to just go and write lyrics to a song. So take us back to that time, to give us a bit of a context around how you ended up getting into music, but then I suppose not getting into music because you went and did what most people would call as a regular job.
Yeah, no problems. So probably 16, I started just playing the guitar. Okay, I used to have guitar lessons with this guy on the street, and he was teaching me jazz.
On the street?
On my street where I lived, yeah. So yeah, not on the street. So he was teaching me like all these funky chords and then playing all these like really nice stuff, but something which I just wasn't interested in. So I was washing up because I was still at school, and then there was this chef who used to just play Oasis songs. And I was like, wow, that's what I want to be doing. So he would play Oasis songs and teach me how to play just open chords. And then ever since then, it was like I fell in love with the simplicity and just being able to write and express yourself.
Simplicity?
So, the simplicity in the music and about expressing in words and how you're feeling, away from complexities around, look at these really unusual chords or these unusual patterns or anything like that. So I could just watch a TV program and then pause a film and then write a song about exactly what was going on at that moment while the kettle was brewing. It comes so instant music and writing and everything. And it was really funny. I had this one guitar I wrote all my songs on, and it was like it played itself. There was so many songs in that guitar I can't really describe. And then I used to write and write and write and write and write, and then think, I really like that. But that was by painting. It was something what I really enjoyed doing, and it was just like, as you can imagine, a painter painting a picture and going, I really enjoy painting. I finished the painting, but in the cupboard, and paint another one. And that's exactly what it was like for me. Just writing songs was just enjoying. And then I got to a stage then, I think I was 16, I thought, I need to try and get these songs down somehow. So, probably not the best singer, probably could play guitar better than I could ever sing, and that's still to this day, okay? So I went for singing lessons. I went for singing lessons religiously for probably 6 months, and then I went to this studio in Bolton, Glenn Phillips' studio, and it was a studio in his house. So he had like the studio in his garage, and then at the side of his garage there used to be like this little vocal booth. And then I think I did my first album for, I don't know, it must have been 2 years in total, writing them, putting them songs down. But again, I didn't care about it. It was like, I did this project and enjoyed doing that, and then wanted to do something else. Until I went to Glastonbury, okay? So have you ever seen The In-Betweeners?
I've seen a few episodes of the show, yeah.
Well, if you can imagine what The In-Betweeners, right? I was one of the cast out of The In-Betweeners, yeah. We decided as friends, let's go down to Glastonbury. So this was like on a Thursday. So on a Friday we set off, okay? And we went in my mate's red Golf GTI. And we went down there. We didn't have a ticket or anything, right? We just turned up.
What year was this?
This was 2000, so I was 18.
Okay.
So I think I'd just finished that first album and then didn't think much of it, and then we went down to Glastonbury. So we went down there and there was like a huge car park, and we didn't think we were going to get in. We thought we'd be going back that night, you know. So we left all the stuff in the car because we had no ticket, and then we started walking around the side and trying to get in. And obviously we went to the security guards and they wouldn't let us in because we didn't have a ticket. So we were like, well, whose stupid idea was this? So we started walking around the side, and anyway, there were some Scousers, and they were like, £50 to get in. Right, let's get in. So I had like half an inclination of saying, should I get me a toothbrush, or should I get me more money, or should I get me a sleeping bag, or my tent, or anything like that. Anyway, we just went straight in. I remember having £200 in my pocket, and then, so there we were in the middle of Glastonbury in two fences.
So was this, like, just quickly, was this like a sort of a burrow through the fence?
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, completely, yeah. So
it wasn't like a ticket?
No, we just got in, yeah. We were stuck underneath this fence, yeah. And then we walked past and there was another fence. We're like, shit, that's just cost us £50 because we can't get in the other side. So we were stuck between these two fences, and then there was a security guy going around, so we like hid behind a tree and down in a ditch and all that lot while this security guy went past. And then we're thinking, well, we're going to have to go back because we can't get through the next fence. Anyway, probably half an hour later, there was some more Scousers.
Another 50 quid?
Another 50 quid, yeah. So there we were inside, and we were thinking, this is brilliant. We had £100 in our pocket. We were dressed like this. And
so they did actually charge you another 50 quid?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So it cost us £100 to get in. And then it was just amazing because we befriended so many people. First time I went crowd surfing. We did all sorts of things, you know. It was like the best time ever. It just reminds me now of looking back of something what the In-Betweeners would do. So that was a spark, really. I remember being in the middle of the main stage singing Travis and Semisonic, top of my lungs, thinking this is what it's all about. So,
Wow.
no.
So how, because you left everything in the car, this 7-hour.
Yeah.
How long did you actually spend within Glastonbury? It's like,
I think we left as the gates were closing. We couldn't stay there any longer.
oh wow.
Yeah, we must have absolutely stuck.
I bet you did. And so did you manage to go on in 2000? Was it one of those years where there's just mud everywhere, or was it a nice
It
weather?
was nice.
So you leave Glastonbury, and so what happens next? Do you get more involved into the whole music world, or do you then start to go off and...
So I was still writing, and I wrote that first album. Really just put it in my pocket, didn't do much with it, and I thought, right, I want to write this second album, and I want it to be the best as it possibly could. And I wanted just to do, again, just a project. It was a project around getting the best songs as I could possibly write. It made sure I was playing the guitar every single day. I felt like my guitar was part of my body. Every single song, what I used to listen to, it was almost like I can imagine what a chef would feel around food, where I could hear every single bit of note from every instrument, from everything. It changed music completely for me. It was like I was completely obsessed, and I was just totally involved in understanding why people wrote what and how, and what were the ingredients, what was the secret sauce, why did that sound so good, all that type of stuff, you know. And at the time, it actually spoiled listening to music for me, because I was dissecting music all the time instead of just enjoying the flavors as you would do like a chef. So I was on this 3-year journey of writing the best album as I possibly could. Okay, and I knew what I wanted it to be, a proper album, in a way what it needed to be dark, it needed to be happy, it needed to be fast and slow, and all these things. It needed to be intricate, it needed to have stories, it needed to have all these ingredients as you would imagine, like you would given your best recipe and your best serving. So that took a lot of effort just to try and get all them jigsaw pieces together and pulling that together. So again, I used Glenn Phillips Studios, and we recorded these songs. These songs took 3 years almost to the day, and it's 20 years next year when that album finished, okay? And so once I got the album, I wanted just to showcase it, but I wasn't bothered about fame or fortune or anything. All I wanted to do is show a few people, hey, this is what I've done. So the smallest number of prints I could do for that CD was 500, okay? I wanted 10, that's all I wanted, you know. So I got 10 printed. A friend of mine on the street did a website for me, and he did all the inlays, and it's amazing. Yeah? Another friend of a friend who did all the photos. The photos were taken on a train line, and I'm stood in the middle of a train line, and I don't think you can get away with that now.
Have you still got the original?
I've got 5 left, and I've only got 5 left.
Only 5 left?
Yeah.
And
I give them all away, and I don't know, but there's probably only 10 in existence.
Well, I reckon once you've got your 3-year project, if you make it to the main stage of Glastonbury in 3 years' time, those 5 that you've got, they're going to be like gold.
Hopefully, aren't they? So, and then I thought, well, let's register, because it was not about anything else. I thought, let's register it in the UK charts, and I can say, hey, when I'm old and grey, I've registered a CD in the UK charts, and I could close a book on it. And then as soon as I wrote them songs and got the finished article and everything else, it was done. That project had finished. It wasn't about anything else. So it was like painting. It was just wanted to put my best paintings in the best frames, and then put them in the cupboard again. That's what it was all about.
Wow.
And then I ended up going travelling, I ended up getting busy with work, I've got 3 kids now and all that lot. So life just got in the way of all this.
So after that second album,
Yes.
Did you lose interest in writing music?
I got burnt out by it, I think.
Okay.
I think I give too much to it for that album to be what it was. It absorbed everything in my brain.
Okay.
And I just needed something different, I would say. I've done it now, I've got that t-shirt. That was my inspiration, that was my goal, what I wanted to do. I've reached my goal, let's move on, let's do something else. And so I almost
So-
like just stopped playing guitar, stopped doing everything.
Wow.
Hardly ever wrote. I probably wrote 5 songs since finishing that album.
5 since finishing the album?
Yeah.
Wow. From somebody that could just write a song from just hearing something on the TV?
Yeah.
Wow. And so, okay, you end up in this place where you burnt yourself out from playing music. Give us a really quick, I suppose, timeline between giving up music to then moving to Australia.
Yeah.
You moved to the other side of the world, then getting the job which you're currently doing now, to then having this big idea.
Okay. So 2003 is when the album came out.
Mhm.
Okay. And then in 2004 I went traveling, and then I moved jobs. So I used to work just around the corner. I used to be electrical technician, so doing maintenance on a chemical factory. And then I went traveling, and then came back, and then I moved into projects. So instead of now maintaining all the equipment, I was designing the equipment what other people maintained. And then at the same factory. And then I moved around, worked for a contracting company installing instrumentation around the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got involved in functional safety, so like process safety. And then I worked for a consultancy company doing risk advisory services for the oil and gas industry. And then I got the opportunity to come down here to Australia to support that.
So what year did you move to Australia?
So I moved 2016, I think it was.
Okay.
So I first came over 2014. We did a thing called like a knowledge booster, where I could share my knowledge for 3 months, and we just fell in love with Australia. And in Brisbane especially, it was brilliant. So we had Ella, my eldest daughter now.
Born in Australia?
So she was 6 at the time, and
Okay.
so she was starting school around that early school years, and then we decided to move to Australia, and then she started over here, and then since then we had 2 little boys. So, and only now I feel like we've got time and capacity where I can actually think about something else.
Okay. But since you've been in Australia, you've been flying in and out onto the rigs.
Yeah, so I do a assessment. So I assess quite a lot of the major oil and gas offshore platforms, and also I write standards for Standards Australia.
Still writing.
So still writing.
So the music is standards, yeah.
Standards, yeah. So I've been quite lucky and fortunate to do what I do with my career, especially moving over to Australia. So I feel my career is really good in a way where I get to see some really cool things. I get to work on some amazing like human engineering feats, which is just incredible. I do feel though there's something missing. I feel like in my brain it's just too far technical, whereas when I was younger it was probably too far musical. And I just need that equilibrium somewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So to me, it sounds like a really interesting dance between that creative side and then the logical side.
Yes.
And there's this bit that maybe is a void for you in the middle, which is now calling you.
Yeah, it's that pendulum. What was once heavily one side, and then for the last 7 or 8 years, it's been heavily the other side.
Mm.
And it just, I don't know. It just needs in my brain. I just need more balance, and I can't really describe what that is. It's probably called the 3-year project, a midlife crisis. That's what it's called.
It's code. Three-year project is code for midlife crisis.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you've got an amazing career, doing really well in it. You enjoy what you do, and then you have this little experience over in New Zealand. Then you see a car bumper sticker,
Yeah.
and then you go, "I'm gonna go to Glastonbury."
Yeah.
I haven't done music for however many years it is.
So, within them 2 weeks of seeing that car bumper sticker and then going, let's jump in with both feet, head first, hold your nose, yeah, the cold water's coming, I was thinking, I remember these songs, I remember in my mind how good they were, but I didn't open that book for such a long time. I couldn't remember half of them. But it's like riding a bike. As soon as I read the lyrics, I was like, it brings you back, and it brings you back from a time when you was writing. It brings you back to them emotions or just how you was feeling at the time. I can even almost as a second person looking at me writing them songs to what was going on around me around that time. It's really funny because music gets to you more than any art. Okay, so in a way, if you was a painter and you was walking around a museum, you go, I really like that. I don't think it would change your mood. I don't think it would make you feel like you felt like some songs do. It doesn't make you get up and dance. It doesn't make you feel sad. It doesn't do all these things. It doesn't take you back to a time what music can. I don't think films can. I don't think any other form of art can. So playing them songs for me back then and in that notebook in them 2 weeks was like, this is bringing back so many feelings what I've not felt for so long, and so opened up so many emotions.
Could you almost relive those same feelings?
Oh, good. Yeah, it was so weird. Yeah, and I could play them not perfectly. I forgot all the words, but I could play the rhythm, and I could feel, and I could hear the music in my brain. Just couldn't play it.
Yeah, wow.
And I couldn't sing it. So it was so weird. It was like plugging back into the Matrix in a way. Where it was all there. Just this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and you know what I mean. It's just the body was not working.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, okay, I could remember 70 of these songs. I probably wrote over 100, 150 songs. And there was 70 which I properly wrote down. And I wish I wrote the others down in the granular detail as I wrote these 70 down. And I'd have more. So I've been going through them and going, well, I really like that. I really like that. That's pretty shit. I really like that one. So I've got probably my 15 songs, which I feel are top drawer. And it's funny, again, like the album, it's not like saying this was the album and this is what it was. All the way through writing that second album, I was writing like you would not believe it. And there's a lot, in my humble opinion, there's a lot stronger songs than what I ever put down on paper or ever released. So there's songs around, getting married, about finding out what Jenny's pregnant with Ella. That's probably the last song what I wrote. That was 13 years ago. She's 13 years old now.
She ever heard that song?
Yeah, she loves it. But it was definitely a gift, and it's a gift what I feel's lost. Like now, I just don't know how to write a song.
Oh, wow.
It's really weird. It's like I don't know how. I don't know how to start. I don't know how to. I don't know where that creative essence comes from. It's like someone's turned off that tap. It's really weird.
Yeah, wow.
So
the creativity has now gone. Yet you've decided that you're going to pull all these old songs back out of the notepad.
Yeah.
You're going to put a band together.
Yeah.
And you are then going to spend the next 3 years, and we're currently into week 6 of this whole big project.
Yeah.
You put a band together, and your goal is to get onto that main stage at Glastonbury with some people sneaking in underneath a fence, or 2 fences.
Yeah, they're going to.
You're going to be pointing them in the crowd. But why? Why do you want to do that?
So for me, I think there's a few things. So one thing what I would really want to do is I want to build a community around music. So music now is less meaningful than when music was back when I was growing up.
Okay.
Because there's just so much of it. Okay, so I want to try and build a community around music and around this core love of music, and then get a following of people to say, hey, we're believing this and it's bigger than music. And when you see the logo of the 3-year project, the 3-year project is about this self-perpetuating 3-year movement of things what anybody can do as long as what you put your mind to it. So my 3-year goal is to get to Glastonbury, and hell or high water, I'm going to give it the best shot as I possibly can. Okay, so the way what my brain works, I'm very project orientated. So it was always like if I could say I wanted to start a band, I know it would fizzle out within 6 months. So I know I need to aim for something which I want to achieve. And it can be as high or as low as it wants. But I can mentally put them building blocks together to say that's how I feel like I can get there. Okay? So let's aim for the biggest mountain we can, so Glastonbury. Yeah. And also it's got some roots and it's got some funny stories and it feels like, hey, this will be a self-perpetuating, this will bring it back to where it all began. My first festival, that time and that feeling.
And from what you're saying, while the songs are important, there's a lot more to this than it just being about the songs.
Yes.
You're saying about the community, and when you rang me up and you said, hey, look, I've got this idea, can we sit down and have a bit of a chat about it, because I wouldn't mind getting the message out there. You were saying about the community that you want to build, you want to bring them on from the very beginning, we want to do this first gig, and then all those people that were part of that first gig, you want to then be able to help them be part of something much bigger.
Yes.
So I want you to dive into that because I think that's what I really loved about it, because it wasn't just about you getting these songs out, it was about going, okay, well, I've got these songs, but I've got this really big project, but in order for me to do it, I need a really cool bunch of people around me, but as this group gets bigger and bigger and bigger, I want to take them all on the journey with me as well.
Yes. So this is a completely non-for-profit gig, is this, okay? So the first gig, what we're going to do is in December. We've got 10 weeks of the band coming together. We've never played before. I just need to make sure what everybody's availability. I don't want to make sure the band actually get on. So it's going to be December, and everybody who goes to that gig, we're going to pay for them to get to Glastonbury. They're going to come and support us and be at the front of that mosh pit. We're going to go crowd surfing. They're going to have the best time, and we're just going to bring this community with us and just grow something and just be part of something bigger than what I am and bigger what the band is, and just be on a proper journey together.
So everyone that's at this first gig that you're about to do, you're going to take all of them. Does it matter about the size of this first audience?
I'm going to be paying for this till I'm 70. I don't care.
But you're going to everyone that's at that very first gig, so the first proper gig that you do as a band,
yes,
everyone that's there, you're going to, when it gets to Glastonbury, have them all down in the mosh pit at the front.
100%, yes.
Far out.
So yeah, definitely. And then there's going to be other things what we're going to do as well. So like the second or the third paid gig, we're going to give all that to, I don't know, the hospitals or True Blue or whatever it is, and build a community around, hey, this is not about, it's a movement around getting music to get a community together to fund some really cool stuff to make change. And that's the idea. That's a real spot behind it.
Because it seems like even just getting onto the main stage at Glastonbury, that's a big enough task. But to then say, well, I'm going to build this community in the process, and I'm going to do all this stuff that's good for other parts of the community and give them money back. This isn't going to be about making money.
Well, I think that's going to be the goal behind this project, is what it needs to self-perpetuate. It needs to grab hold really quickly and get momentum and start snowballing into something bigger than what this really is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the only way this is going to work.
All right, well, there we go. I'm coming to Glastonbury. Because if we think about the power of what we have today, with all the technology and everything that's going on around the world and the way that we can connect now, it wouldn't take much for this to be able to become something that's really big and to be able to become a big movement.
You'd hope so, for all the right reasons. You see lots of people, probably our age, okay, looking at the world and saying, hey, this
35.
world is completely different to what it used to be when we was growing up.
Yeah.
And how can we give back a bit of that real following, a proper, true believer in something like a band or a movement or whatever else you can think of, like punk rock, you can think of Oasis, you can think of the Blur and the Oasis thing, you can think of Sex Pistols, Stone Roses, you can name anything, and there was a movement around each one of them genres.
Yeah.
There's not now. All it is 30 seconds, hey, yeah, I like that, let's move on. And it's just so shallow in everything what we have right now, I feel, in music. and in the community as well. So let's try and help younger people understand what that's really about and try and grow it again.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
So I've still got a lot of questions that I kind of want to dive into here, but I'm also really aware of time. With anybody watching this now then, so if somebody sat through and they've listened to your story of how you used to write all these songs, you've snuck into Glastonbury, it was a big moment for you, you now want to bring it round full circle. Somebody watching now, so how old are you?
42.
42. So somebody watching this now, from that sort of era that you and I are from, what message do you want them to get out of listening to this little conversation that we're having now, this little chat that we're having now? What do you want them to take away from it? What do you want them to? What's the action that you want them to take to help this snowball effect start to take effect, so that you can create this movement?
So I want everybody just to appreciate what you had when you was younger, and have that feeling around these movements and around these life-changing things, what change your world and your life, yeah? And just say, well, this potentially could happen now with the right support. And the movement's in the most positive way, and it's a bit of fun, and it's getting the community together, and it's absolutely bonkers, and we're going to chuck all our cards down and go all in as best we can. Just think, hey, do I want to be part of that, and how do I get involved?
Yeah.
And then hopefully get other people involved, and let's start this community and this movement around, hey, it's not just a band. This band is just this community of people, young, old, could be anybody, I don't really care, okay? And just going, yeah, I believe, let's do it. You're absolutely crazy, but I'm following you.
Definitely crazy. I will give you that, but I like crazy. 6 weeks into it, what stage is the band currently at?
Okay, so 6 weeks, I needed to have a bit of a plan to say, what is these building blocks? How do I build the foundations in order to have something which I can then build a Glastonbury on, okay? So first I needed a name. So it was like, it's obvious 3-year project. So we looked to make sure there was nothing on. I can get the website called that, kind of Facebook, kind of Insta, I can get all that lot, and it was all free. So I snapped that up best I could, okay? Then I thought, well, I needed a logo, so I worked on a logo. Then I thought, right, I needed a website, and had all the building blocks around that. And then I said to myself, well, every single day there's going to be a positive movement to the 3-year project. So every single day there's one thing which I'm moving. If you can imagine what the sounder makes, and then you've got all these levers, I'm moving one of them levers in one direction. If it's either PR, if it's singing lessons, if it's getting a band together, if it's whatever it is, it's these levers. And there's some which are very low, and there's some which are going quite high at the moment. I need to work on more on other things than other things. So basically, as a rundown, week 1 was around making sure what we've got a brand, okay? That was the first thing, i.e. what's it called? Is it available?
It's a 3-year project.
Yeah.
Or for the cool people, 3YP.
Yeah. Then second, it was around, okay, then, well, it can't work without, obviously, musicians, okay? So I put an advert on the Sunshine Coast music and Brisbane music and all these types of things.
Back in the days, you would have done it in the paper, though.
We would have done it in the paper. And he was like saying, hey, come and join this band, this is a movement, we're going to Glastonbury in 3 years. Yeah, I got one reply for that, okay? And then I've got a really, really cool mentor who's really helping me. And he says, well, in order for this really to work, Sam, you need to pay them. So session musicians needed now for the 3-year project. So now we've got session musicians. So everything what we're trying to do is, instead of, if you can imagine what working for a band or growing up, there'll be your mates in your circle of friends, and you'd have 5-10 years worth of music together to then learn all this and to grow. I don't have that time. I've got 3 years. So I need to try and get the best musicians I can on the Sunshine Coast, put them in that pot, right? Okay. Say hey, these are the songs which we're learning every single week, and then rehearse 3 weeks, 3 songs each week. And then by week 5, we'll have the set, and after that we've got 5 weeks of learning the set, and then week 10 we're doing the gig.
First gig.
Yeah, first gig. So that's probably week 3, going back to where we were, getting the band together. And then it was around, hey, I need a recording studio, I need somewhere to jam. So week 5 was all around getting somewhere to play. And then I was working offshore week 6, and we found out what Laye, who was one of our band members, she decided to leave, so I needed to find a new keys player. So this week's been all around getting the keys player and then getting PR. So what we've got is we've got a lady who's going to be recording all our rehearsals and doing a documentary around this, very similar to like a Netflix series. So we're going to try and pull all this together. I even know what it's called. It's called Some People Sleep While Others Dream. And this is going to be part of it, you know? So this is the intro into Some People Sleep While Others Dream, and the 3-year project getting to Glastonbury. And then we're recording every single step of the way of how we do that. And hopefully just try and get a following and try and get people interested.
Yeah. What's your biggest fear in this?
We're both surfers, aren't we?
Yep.
So
we
try to be surfers. So I feel like everything up to this moment has just been a conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've been in my bedroom playing these old songs. I've got this band together. It's all been technical and always been project management and everything so far. Yeah. On Wednesday is the first time the actual band get together and we sing together, and I feel like when you're paddling onto that wave and you see that drop, you're either going to go right over the falls, or you're going to go and you're going to pop up and you're going to be going down the line. And I just feel like this is going to be 3 or 4 times I feel like this, but I feel like that's just how I feel right now. When I'm either going to eat shit, okay, or I'm going to be speeding down the line, and I don't know. And that's the fun of it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think getting on stage for the first time, I've got no idea. There might be 2 people there. I've got no idea of how many people is going to be actually part of this. Just because I believe it.
It'd be cheaper for you if there's only 2 people there.
Yeah, it would. So just because I believe in this, I don't want to try and tell everybody needs to believe in it. So they need to believe in it themselves. So I just don't know. I hope what this is going to be something what's going to be different and something which you look back on in fond memories. I just don't know. I just feel like I'm just at the top of that wave, just going to pop right now.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of fear in all this right now, and it's really funny going back to some of the ombi stuff like visualization and talking to yourself and your posture and all these types of things which you have.
So just for reference, ombi is a surf training program, and there's a sort of method that it follows. So just if you're wondering what ombi was there.
Yeah, but there's a lot in there around just dealing with fear and dealing with anxiety and dealing with all these hidden things which you can relate to anything.
Yeah.
And I've taken quite a bit of that on board with this journey too. You know? So.
I think fear shows up for everybody. I think that it's. Well, I'm hoping that a lot of people are going to be inspired that at this point in time in our lives, we quite often play it safe. A lot of us have got families and that kind of thing, and we're in this sort of regular job, and sometimes we can feel really stuck. But that stuckness is also a sense of security. You've decided to completely break that mold and just go, no, I want to do something different. I want to do something exciting. Life's too short to do that, and I want to do something that has a lot of meaning for everybody.
Yes.
And I think that whether it's music or whether it's just inspiring people to think about their lives and just go, what is it that I need to do? Like, let's just stop sitting down and taking life as it comes. Let's do something exciting. Let's make ourselves feel that feeling of uncertainty inside our stomach, because it feels horrible, but when you get on the other side of it, it feels so amazing, and that's what you're doing. And so there's so many different points of inspiration in what you're doing here. It's not just the music. I'd like to think that it's going to inspire people that are in the situation that we're in at that point in life. So life's there to be lived. It's amazing.
It is. I could quite easily just be content with everything I have.
Yeah.
but I don't know, there's just something grumbling inside me what doesn't want to just say contentment's enough. It's just something which I can't let go. I can't describe it. It's like something what's boiling in my body.
Yeah.
And it was that this index finger what really started like saying, you know, Sam, what, in 5 years' time you might not be able to play the guitar. It's like, well, something needs to change. Something just now. It's not just one day.
Yeah. Pretty powerful if you really think about it. Just that one little thing about your finger.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those butterfly moments that happens in your life and completely change the trajectory. Because the journey that you're about to go on is one that's going to be full of ups and downs. It's going to be full of excitement. It's going to be full of swearing and getting frustrated. But
yeah, it's going to be hard, and I've got no doubt what there's going to be. I'm going to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, and we're going to suck. On Wednesday, we've got to just embrace the suck, haven't we? Yeah. Because we're not going to be great on Wednesday. I know for a fact. Okay, the timing's going to be off. I know my singing's going to be awful, right? I'm going to be walking away on Wednesday thinking, what on earth am I leading? Yeah. I just need to think, hey, in 10 weeks' time, we're not going to be this bad. Hope not to be this bad.
I remember a piece of advice I was given back when I was probably very early 20s, maybe 20, 21, and it was, everybody needs a place to be bad.
Yeah, okay.
But you've got to embrace that. You've got to embrace the fact that you're going to be bad at things. You're not going to be perfect straight away.
No.
It all takes practice.
It's different as well, because if you can imagine what all my music, it's not like I've ever played in a band before. I've never really sang on stage properly before. I've done open mic nights, obviously, or whatever, but never held it's like I'm learning to walk as well as trying to climb a mountain. So it's...
And then wanting to get onto the main stage of Glastonbury.
So it's definitely, I don't think I could pick something harder for me because it means so much too.
Yeah.
So if I do fail at this, it's not just, hey, give it a go, good lad, and tap on the back, try something else.
And you've decided to do it massively publicly as well.
Yeah. So it's like saying, hey, these things what you grew up with is now going to be the core thing what's going to get you to where you want to be, and there's some emotions around all them songs and everything else, and just letting all that out and doing it as open and in public as possible and filming that journey for everybody to see. I feel like I'm crackers.
You are crackers, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing. You got to be crackers to make it work. If anybody wants to join you on this journey, I know that you're because of just the nature of what you do, social media hasn't been a big thing for you. So not only are you starting a band, you're also starting the whole platform on social media and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where else do people need to follow you? How can they get involved? If they want to support it, if they want to share it around with everybody, get involved in the movement?
Yeah, so just...
You on Instagram?
Instagram, yeah, so a 3-year project. Everything is just 3-year project,
okay.
And it's a number 3.
So Instagram?
YouTube? Not YouTube, but Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah. TikTok, yeah.
You talk?
Yes.
I'm now going to look really uncool.
I think that's all I know.
Are there other ones? I'm not even sure if there are other ones. But you're also having a website.
So we're getting a website done. Right now it's there. So we've got the 3-year project, and it just says Road to Glastonbury. But we're going to put all this content and everything else on there too. So.
Yeah,
but everything what we're going to do is non for profit. So if we do any T-shirts or any merch or whatever else, all that's just going to go to good cause.
Yeah, wow.
So.
And if anybody wants to get it your first gig,
you'll hear all about it. You just need to follow us.
Okay, so just start following, and then also as well, obviously, share it around as much as possible, because this is about creating a movement. This is about creating a community. This is about something more than just playing a bunch of songs. There is so much more to this. Yes. So the more that you can share it, the more momentum you're going to be able to give it. So,
and the better it'll be for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah. More people, more fun. Woohoo! Bigger mosh pit.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want people to know about this project before we wrap up this conversation?
Just remember, it's all a bit of fun, and it's a journey. And I just want people to look back and go, I was part of that. and I embrace that. And coming from it as early as you possibly can to get the best of it would be the best thing for everybody.
I have one suggestion, and that is you've got that bumper sticker that you saw that day.
Yes.
That one day, or what was it?
One day or day one.
One day or day one.
Yep.
I reckon you should get a whole bunch of those printed out.
Do you reckon?
And everyone just goes around and sticking them everywhere. Because who knows who will inspire in the future?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm really excited to join you on this journey and share this around with everyone that I know and keep catching up with you as you go through the next.
Yeah, thank you.
The next 3 years.
Yeah. Also, I want to just do 100 gigs. So I'm limited the number of gigs to.
So 100 gigs, and then
3 years time. Yeah. Only 100 gigs. That's it.
Is the 100th one going to be on the main
Yes.
stage? So the 100 has to. So the century gig
Is
has to be on main
Glastonbury
stage.
Yes.
Glastonbury.
Yeah, that's
Wow, awesome. Well, look, you know what to do. Just make sure that you follow along, support the Instagram channels, support all the different social channels as they start to pop up. Get into the website and make sure that you're at that very first gig. Sam, thank you so much for sharing this vision and this journey. I'm really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, cheers. It's Anthony.